right, so today we will actually start with pranayama. I was doing this this week, and it's called Bhramari Breath, and it's bee buzzing breath. So have you done that before? Or you just, okay, you make that vibration in your mouth. But separate your teeth. And we'll start with Shanmukhi mudra, which just take your hands wide. Don't do it yet, because if you plug your ears, you won't be able to hear me. So when we start, you'll take your thumbs right to your ears. You have to shove them in there, just kind of close it off a little bit. And what this does, this is Pranayama, where we kind of remove the input of the senses. So whatever we collect from the outside, you know, whether we hear something, we see something, we close all of that down to bring the attention inward. And that's where we really concentrate on the breath. So we hear it, we feel it, and that's our primary focus. So your index fingers will rest lightly above the eyebrows. Your middle fingers, when we do it, you'll close the eyes so lightly on the eyelids. Your ring fingers will come right to the top, the bridge of the nose, just to narrow the passageway in the air, not to close it off completely, otherwise you won't be able to breathe. And then your pinkies will rest on your upper lip, okay? So we'll take a full breath in, cleansing breath, and let it go. And then you'll take your inhale, and your exhale will be that humming noise, that So you'll start to feel that vibration through your head, maybe throughout your entire body, okay? And you'll just do that, let's say 5 breaths, because you won't be able to hear me once you plug your ears. And then when you're done with your 5 breaths, just come back to regular breath. You can bring a prayer to your heart and rest your hands in your lap, okay? All right, so Shanmukhi, so here we are. So we'll do the thumbs last, because those are the ears. So the index fingers right above the eyebrows. Middle fingers, close the eyes. You don't have to press down. You're just keeping the lids closed. Ring fingers, bridge of the nose, just narrow, just slight little, not pushing, not a pinch. And then the pinkies will come to the upper lip. Now take your thumbs in your ears. Take a full breath in. We'll open the mouth here for the exhale. Take breath in. And Bhramari breath. And we'll continue for your 5 breaths. Just bring a prayer to your heart. That's your regular breathing. Just allow the residual vibration to be wherever it is. And that's where your attention lies. So you can become a bit more focused, a bit more calm, a bit more balanced. Or maybe even a little bit more aware, awake. I want you to notice the difference in your own after that vibration. So we'll take breath in. Open your eyes. Namaste. Okay. So we'll use 2 blocks. We'll come to the mat. Now, before you come into your hands and knees for cat cow, we're just going to take a little extra stretch on the hands and the feet. So pay attention to your feet from standing. I know you said your neck. So we're on the knees, and bring your fingers to the mat, but we'll lift the palms. Now it's up to you. See how you feel in the joints. See how you feel in the knuckles and the fingers. Lean forward a little bit. If it's too much, bring your thumbs down and absorb some of the weight with the thumbs as well. If it's fine, float your thumbs up so we just have the 4 fingers down. And then we'll take a light rock forward and back. So just shifting the weight, getting a little heavier, a little lighter. And then we'll turn the fingers to face in towards the knees. The wrists will face away. And then we'll do that same thing this time the palms are down. When you shift the weight back, press into your fingertips. Yeah. So your pace, your range of motion. Now we're engaging through the forearms, but we want to keep the fingers active. So when you're in those poses, down dog, plank, you're not taking all of the weight in the wrists. We're using the whole hand. And then we'll flip the hand completely so the fingers will continue to face in towards the knees, palms face up. Take your time here. And then draw the weight back towards the heels and then come back to a neutral. So we're not shifting forward on this one. We're just pulling it back. I'm sure you feel it. Then tuck your toes under. We'll raise the heels and we'll sit back. So roll off the hands, we'll interlace the fingers. You can bring them right to the chest. And we'll just roll this a bit. So right side, left side, maybe make a figure 8. Let your grip of your hands be a little lighter so you get a little bit more movement through the wrist. And then turn your palms up towards the ceiling as we breathe in, lift the arms up. And then draw the arms back. So just to engage through the shoulders. You can take a little bit of a bounce here. Range of motion is pretty small. So it's controlled. I shouldn't say bounce, I should say sway. So we control it. Now we're sitting high on the heels, toes are tucked under. Release the hands, we'll take one more breath. Prayer up overhead as you inhale. On the breath out, bring your hands back down and we'll float the knees. So we still have the weight primarily in the legs and the feet. Come forward a little bit more, so you're almost rolling on top of the toes. So you feel the balls of the feet, maybe you feel the arches. And then we'll roll back onto the balls of the feet. So you might even feel the quads here. And then roll it back one more time. Now we'll take this back to a very short dog. Keep your hands where they are. And then we can roll the ankles here. So let the knees kind of float out to the sides a little bit. There's a little bit of hip opening. And then we drop the heels all the way down, lift the toes. We're pressing down through the balls of the feet. And then lift the balls of the feet, pull the hips back, pull the chest back, drop your head in between your arms. Give your head a little bit of a shake. And then we'll lift the heels, come forward, bring the knees back down to the mat. Untuck the toes, we'll be in tabletop. And then we can come to cat-cow. So if you want to change the position of the hands here, maybe float up onto your fingertips. And any extra movement here, we can roll through the torso. Nice. And then come neutral, drop your chin all the way into your chest. Press up onto the fingertips, we'll lift the head and then take your gaze up towards the ceiling. So there's not a big arch in the back. Now tilt your right ear towards your right shoulder with your chin lifted. Come back through center and do that on the other side. Come back through center, drop your palms, tuck your chin all the way into the chest, and then we'll come to a cat back here. Now sit back on the heels, we'll keep the chest lifted. Yeah. Just gonna turn to face you. And drop your left ear down towards your left shoulder. Take your left hand towards your shoulder, your collarbone on the right hand side, and just gently draw it down. So just to feel that stretch on the right side of the mat. And then we can walk the right fingertips down to the mat and walk them away from your legs. So you're reaching towards the edge of the mat. Take a full breath in. And full breath out. Now release your left hand, plug the fingertips down into the mat, opposite of the right. And we'll lower the chin down to the center of the chest. And then take a little glide here. So bringing the right ear towards the right shoulder, we'll lower the chin down to the chest. So we're rolling towards the front. And then when your right ear comes towards the shoulder, we'll hold it there. Keep your left hand where it is. Take your right hand over to the left-hand side. So between the shoulder and the collarbone, we can gently draw it down. And then crawl the fingers a little farther away from your leg. Full breath in. Full breath out. Bring your right fingertips back down to the mat. Drop your chin to your chest. And we'll find that roll one more time. So keep crawling your fingers away. You're pressing down into the fingertips so the arms are strong here. We're not just hanging. And then come back through center. Inhale the arms up overhead. Interlace your fingers and we'll land the hands right to the back. Right at the base of the skull, you can interlace or use your fingertips and just give a little bit of pressure here. So almost as if you're lifting your head. Take your thumbs at your jaw. I'm going to bring the crown of the head a little closer to the ceiling, feeling the length in the neck. And then drop your head back. Now we can rock the head from side to side here with the support of the hands. Maybe a little extra pressure through the fingertips. A little massage here. And then come back through center. Let's bring the elbows forward. We'll come back to tabletop. Tuck the toes, downward facing dog. Yeah, and you can pedal out the legs here. You have the distance. This is a regular dog. No short dog here. And then let's lift the heels. Press into the fingertips. We'll roll out to plank. Take a full breath in. On the breath out, draw the elbows in towards the ribs and we'll lower everything down. Take your time. Bhujangasana, low cobra breath in. And exhale, lower it down. We'll do two more. Move at your pace if you want to change the position of your hands. Maybe take them off the mat. Come on to the fingertips. Maybe interlace your fingers. Come to Ardha Chalavasana. Take your hands back behind you. Draw the shoulder blades towards one another. Press into the tops of the feet. And after your third, we'll take this back child's pose. Press up onto your fingertips and don't bring your head all the way down to the mat. So let it float about an inch. Your gaze can be right down to the mat. And start to shift the shoulders. Introduce a bit of a twist here. You can slide the ribs across the thighs. Lift and lower the shoulders. And then as this movement is happening, lift your hands and bring them a little farther forward, almost as if you're swimming. So you can slide one hand back and then reach with the other. And then we'll hold. Press into your hands, tuck your toes, bring yourself back to plank pose. Lower down knees, chest, and chin. Bhujangasana Cobra. Big breath in. Breath out, lower yourself down, make your way back. Downward facing dog, whether through plank or child's pose. And then your dog, take a full breath in. Bhramari breath on the exhale. Come back to that bee buzzing. Let's lift the right leg. Bend your knee, release your hip, roll the ankle, lift and lower the left heel. So basically any movement here that finds you a little bit of space. Then we'll step the right foot in between the hands for a low lunge, Anjaneyasana. Grab hold of your blocks. And we'll keep the chest hovering over the right thigh. Bend the right knee a little bit more, so allow the knee to come forward towards the toes. So we're putting a lot of weight into that right foot, so the lunge might get a little deeper. So the hands are on the blocks. You can even come onto the fingertips to lift the chest, and then just curl the left hamstring, just so we know we're not on the kneecap here. And if you feel any pressure on the knee, tuck the toes, wiggle that leg back a little bit more. So put a little bit more weight to the right leg. So let that left hip draw forward, right hip draws back. Press into the fingertips, let's lift the chest. Then untuck the back toes, we can climb up the thigh. Inhale the arms up overhead, interlace your fingers. Next breath in, we reach the knuckles up. On the breath out, draw the arms back. I want you to feel the shoulders here, not so much that low back overarching. And then come to a cactus shape with the arms, spread the fingers wide, retract the shoulder blades and reaching towards one another. And then bring the left fingertips down to the floor. You have that block there if the floor feels far away. You can bring your hand to the block. And then slide it away from your mat. Give a little bit more space. Reach the right arm over your right ear. Then you can take whatever movement here. You want to circle through that right arm. You can connect the fingertips to the back of the head, thumb to the jaw. Lift your chin on the breath in. Breath out, open up a little bit more of a twist. And then we'll release. Sweep the hands forward. We'll pull this back for half split Ardha Hanumanasana. Again, you can take your hands in the blocks. Tuck the back toes. And then we can shift here. Flex your right foot and you can swing the hips from side to side. You want to stay with a little bit more lengthening. Walk the blocks forward. Pull the hip back. Flex the toes up. And then drop the head. Yes. Now come forward, step back into your right foot. We'll swing the left foot back to the side and come to a stargazer variation. But this is going to have a lunge to it. So lift your right heel so we're on the ball of the right foot, and you'll feel the pelvis shift forward. Now reach the left hand towards the back edge of the mat and find that stargazer shape. Reach the right arm overhead. Now again, if the floor is far away, for your left hand to come down, take your block. Left hand on block. Yeah, so lunge into it. So you might even feel as if you're coming to the inside of your left knee, your right heel is high. Nice. Then we'll take an extended side angle variation on the knees. Drop your right heel. Right hand comes to the inside of the right foot. Lift the left arm up. Breathe here. Breath out, we can take the left arm over the left ear. Again, any extra movement that you want to take here for that shoulder joint. Fingertips can land at the back of the head. Lay it back. So now the access to the floor is a lot easier because we're down lower. So you can really feel that right arm assist the leg. Draw that knee back over to the right side. And then we'll take this back to center. Just be aware if you have that block behind you, get out of your way. Swing your left foot and we'll come to twist a lunge. Float the left knee on the breath in, lift the right arm up. Then you can lay this back if you like. You can turn to see what's behind you. Bring the chest to the thigh. Lay around it. And we'll come to a pyramid variation. There are the blocks. You can take the hands on. Keep your back heel lifted so without hopping the back foot in, you have a wider stance. Flex your right toes up. And then lower the back heel. It might come down to the mat, it might not. And then shift forward, lift the back heel, drop the front toes. You can rock this from front to back a couple of times. And then soften the right knee as you step into the foot. Take the blocks out of the way, step back, plank pose. Knees, chest, chin, or Chaturanga Dandasana. You choose your Vinyasa, Cobra, or upward facing dog. Back in that down dog, take a full breath in through your nose. Open your mouth, let it go. Then move your jaw, your eyebrows, crinkle your nose. Some movement in the face. No one can see you. Now let's lift the left leg. Release, find some space in the hip. Down dog split, and then we step the left foot forward in between the hands. Now, Anjaneyasana, take your time coming down. Lean forward just a bit more, take your hands to blocks. Breath in, lengthen. So right here, we can really focus on the position of the hips. We're squeezing the inner thighs. Take your hands above your head, interlace your fingers. Breath in, we reach the knuckles up. Breath out, we draw the arms back. So we're still extending up. We're not collapsing anywhere in that lumbar spine. Be aware of your left knee shifting over to the left side, bring it back to the midline. Practice the arms. And you can grab your block, drop your right hand down to the right side. Left arm reaches over. And then your movement here. And then we'll come back through center. Bring the blocks forward. Half split, straighten the left leg, flex the toes. So you can start by lifting the chest. Have a little bit of space in between your left thigh and your ribs. Go long. Now we can move this. We can sway the hips from side to side while flexing the left toes up. We're going to bring those blocks forward. Feel the hamstring a little bit more. We slide them almost to the edge of the mat. Feel the shoulders, the upper back. You can walk the blocks back if they're forward. Step into your left foot, swing your right foot back behind you, coming to that stargazer variation. So adjust the front foot so you can lift the heel, come onto the ball of the foot. Allow yourself to lunge into it. Reach your right hand back towards the mat, or maybe you take a block with you. And lay back. Nice. And we're releasing the hips. And that left heel super high, so you're pressing into the tips of the toes, not just the ball of the foot. Now we'll come to an extended side angle. Lower the left heel. Left hand comes to the inside of the foot. Breath in, we reach up. Breath out, you can take the arm overhead. Maybe move the arm if you did it on the other side. You connect the fingertips to the back of the head, add your twist. Chin off the chest. And then we'll take this back, just move the block that's behind you. We'll come to a twisted lunge, bringing the right hand down, swing your right foot, float the knee. Breath in, lift the left arm. Pyramid pose. So hands on blocks, keep your feet where they are. Right heel stays high. As you straighten the left leg, flex the toes. You can play with this, lifting the chest a little higher. Same thing that we did in that half split, you can walk the blocks forward. So basically whatever feels good in your body this morning. And then lower the right heel. And then lift the heel, drop the left toes. So we come back to that rock. Good, nice and long in the hamstrings. Rebend the left knee, take the blocks out of the way, step back, plank pose right through Vinyasa. Maybe got a little bit of a shake here. Full breath in. Flutter out the lips on the breath out. Do that one more time. Big breath in. Flutter out the lips, breath out. Lift your heels, press up onto your fingertips. Keep lifting your hips up towards the ceiling, draw the navel in. And then watch your feet as you walk them to step forward towards your hands. Once you're in the neighborhood, step wide. You're coming to the outer edges of the mat. Your heels are high, your palms are up. Let's fold this down, almost as if the crown of the head is coming down to the floor. So if your gaze is the floor, see if you can shift and look for the back edge of your mat. And release any tension in the shoulders. Don't worry about the balance. We'll lower the heels, sway the hips from side to side, and come into Malasana, yogi squat. Right now, the toes might be turned out on an angle, totally fine. Bring your prayer to your heart, use the arms to help open the hips, lengthen the spine, and sit up a little tall. Take a full breath in, full breath out. Now let's fold down, aiming the forearms down towards the floor, so your back will get round. Now pivot the feet, turn the toes to face forward, so we don't have that turn out anymore. And now you have the ability to squeeze the shoulders with the inner thighs or the knees. So just feel that here. And then drop your head. We'll get a little rounder. Maybe the forearms actually touch the floor. And take your hands to your head. And just guide the chin into the chest. Maybe the elbows come back down to the floor. Then you can walk your hands and bring them on top of your head. So we're not pushing, there's no compression here. We're just guiding. Maybe the chin comes a little closer to the chest. See what that feels like in the back and in the neck. And you can always bring your elbows to your block. And then we'll release, take the block out of the way. If you're using it, take your hands down to the floor. Lift your heels. So you're almost in this really wide crow shape where your shins are on the triceps. Don't worry, we're not coming into crow. Straighten the legs here. And then bring your heels in and then your toes in. So we'll come to Uttanasana, forward fold. Soften the knees, let your head go. Take your hands back behind you for an interlace. Take breath in, raise the knuckles up towards the ceiling. So we're doing this the whole time with bent knees. Then on the breath out, come forward with the arms, tuck your chin into your chest. So you have that little space in between your knees that you can gaze at something. I'll straighten the legs any amount. Soften the knees, we'll come to chair pose, Utkatasana. Take your time, you were just upside down, so we don't want to whip the head. Breath in, Urdhva Hastasana, high prayer bow. Breath out, Samasthiti, bring your prayer to your heart. Cool. Now take your right arm up over your head and just turn to face you. Take the back of your left hand at your forearm and just help to draw the arm back past your head. And then we'll reach over towards the left shoulder. Now you can guide the arm with your left hand, not pressing down. So draw the elbow back a little bit, and then wiggle the fingers. You might even touch the left armpit, or right underneath the shoulder. And then hold on to it. Take the left arm up towards the ceiling, and then we'll bring the elbow down towards the ribs. So your arm is behind the head, not on top of it. Now we can find a little side bend. You can take your left hand to the abdomen, turn your gaze up towards the ceiling, and lean over to the left side. So the whole time the elbow continues to draw back. And then bring yourself back to center. Unravel, take both arms up overhead, interlace your fingers. Good. Draw the arms back. Back of your right hand comes to your left forearm. So again, we're guiding, we're not pushing. And then bend the elbow, let your fingertips reach for the shoulder. Help that left arm travel back a little bit with the right hand. And then maybe we come to the shoulder, maybe the armpit. And then we'll lower the right elbow. Bring your right hand across the abdomen. Free your head so you can look up to the left side. And find a side bend. And bring yourself back to center. Unravel, take the arms up overhead as you breathe. Breath out, forward, fold, Uttanasana. Come halfway up, inhale. Breath out, step back, float back, Vinyasa. Just make sure the blocks aren't in your way, but they're there if you want them. Lift your heels, soften your knees, take your gaze forward towards the front edge of the mat, either walk or float your way down. Come halfway up on the breath in. Full fold breath out. Urdhva Hastasana, high prayer above the head. Samastiti prayer to your heart. All right, we'll play with balance. We'll shift the weight into the right foot, lift your left heel. And then come to a chair pose. Interlace your fingers. We'll reach down and literally step your left foot into your hands. Almost like you want to give yourself a boost. We stay round in the back. Shoulder blades are drawing apart. Right knee stays back. So feel your thigh against your chest. And then we'll straighten the left leg any amount, like floating skater pose. So you're looking forward. Then we'll rise up, straighten your right leg. And just pull the left leg a little higher. Doesn't have to be up in the ceiling. Pull your shoulders back. Now bend your left knee. We'll come to a floating tree pose. Left hand comes to the knee and open the hip out towards the left side. Right hand can come to the right hip. Yes, we're balancing the whole time on the right leg. No big deal. Now slide your hand to the ankle. We'll come to dancer. Bring your right hand to a half prayer at the heart. So you're pressing your hand up against the sternum to avoid folding forward. So we want to keep the chest lifted. As we open the hamstring, kick the left toes up and back. Take your time. Release the foot, step back, high lunge. Breath in. Breath out, warrior two. Nice. Peaceful warrior breath in. Extended side angle and see what it feels like being on the feet this time. Blocks are there if you want them. Extend the left fingertips up towards the ceiling. And then reach the left hand back behind you. We're going to come to a half Gomukhasana bind. So the back of the hand sits nicely in between the shoulder blades. So you can wiggle the fingers up towards the back of your neck and then lay back into your left arm. So the left shoulder is above the right. Bend your right knee. That's it, right angle. Then we'll take the right hand to the shin and bring it into Trikonasana. So take your time here as you straighten the right leg. We have some space between the right ribs and the thigh, so we can find that rotation. Lay back into your left arm. So your hip is pulling back as the crown of the head shifts forward. Then we have that balance here. Hip is pulling back. We can float the right arm underneath the right ear. So you're reaching forward with the right hand, you're pulling back through the hip. We'll rise all the way up to reverse the triangle. Let your right hand connect to the left in full Gomukhasana bind. And then we can lay this back. Once you have your balance, flex your right toes up. And if the left elbow is getting caught up in the hip, just slide back behind it. A little bit more space here to the left and on the right side. Now we'll release the right hand, keep the left hand where it is. You have a very wide stance here, so take your time. Ardha Chandrasana, half moon. So we'll come forward, reach forward, not down. So you can even hop that left foot in a bit. You have blocks there if you want to put your hand on the block. Or maybe the fingertips come to the floor. So again, left arm stays where it is, lay back against it. Strong left foot. Now we'll curl the hamstring, bringing it into Trikonasana. Release the left hand, it's right there, we can connect to the foot. And then kick your foot back, bring your chest forward. Nice. Perch pose. Take your time, we're releasing the twist, hang on to that left foot. Stack your left knee behind your right. Once it's there, bring your left hand down to the floor or to a block. And we'll twist open on the right side. Catch hold of your left foot with your right hand. Baby grasshopper. Walk your left hand out to the left side. I'll just turn so you can see what I'm doing here. And start to straighten the left leg. You're kicking your foot out to the right. Slide your right shoulder in front of the right knee. You can dip the chest, you can bend the left arm, drop your head. That's it, take your time, you got it. Here's the hardest part. We press out, press into the right foot. Come into a super soldier variation where you're bringing your foot towards your butt. You're folded over the right leg and lift the left knee up. Take your time. We'll step this back to a twisted lunge. Left foot comes back, left hand is already there. Lift the right arm up, take breath in. Then we'll thread the right arm underneath the right leg. So we'll come to airplane arms here. So you're reaching out, making a T, you're underneath your right hamstring. So float up onto the fingertips. Back heel is lifted, you're in a lunge. Looks like a bound lizard. Then bring your right hand behind you for that half Gomukhasana bind. Maybe the left hand comes back for the full bind. And then grab hold of your right wrist so you can release the left shoulder. And you're looking down at your right foot. Bring your left knee down to the mat. Toes can stay tucked or you can untuck, whatever's comfortable. Should I say comfortable in this shape? And then we'll come to a half split with a full bind. So begin to straighten the right leg. You can fold over the left. Maybe the head comes down to the mat. If you're untucking the toes, be careful. Make sure that left knee feels okay. You have a little bit more room to drop. Yeah, so move slowly. And then we'll unravel. Come into that funky stargazer. So swing your left foot. Lift your right heel, lunge forward. Left hand will reach for the back edge of the mat. Take the right arm overhead. So we did this in the warm-up, yeah. So instead of leaning into the left leg, shift into the right. So there's a lunge here. That's it. Right heel is high so you feel the arch of the foot. Let's come to extended side angle on the knee. Drop your right heel, sweep the left arm over. Just spin your foot. Left hand comes down, we'll come to Vashisthasana side plank. Float the left knee as if you're coming into a twisted lunge. And then you can stack your right foot on top of your left. Lift the right arm up. Let that arm reach overhead. Step your right foot back, rock star. Take your time, pelvis goes high. And we'll take this back. Bring your right knee towards your right hand. And we'll lower down. So you're in a half hero on the right side. Pigeon on the left. Come on to the fingertips, lift the chest. Then we can curl the left hamstring. And reach back, catch hold of the foot. Yeah, and draw it in. Now if you're open on the left side, see if you can release the twist, bring the shoulder forward. Nice, easy release of the foot. Tuck the toes, lift up out of the right heel and bring the left knee forward. So now we can come into a full hero. Make sure the knees are fine with it. We're sitting in between the feet. You can bring the knees together to touch. Prayer your foot. Drink your water. Just bring your hands forward. We're pushing back up onto the knees. Swing your feet back so they're parallel. You're about as wide as the hips. And then we'll take the arms up overhead. Push up onto the knees. Find that cactus shape. And let's come into a camel. As you reach back for your feet, give yourself a moment here. Draw the shoulders back, let the pelvis come forward. We're lifting the chest up towards the ceiling. Option to drop the head back. And then when you're ready, we'll release, bring your chin to your chest, allowing the hips to descend towards the heels. And then we'll just have a seat here, prayer to your heart, back to your breath. Bring your hands down, step back, plank, right into Vinyasa. Breathe. Let's lift the heels, make our way to the top of the mat. Breath in. Breath out, Uttanasana. Walk your hands back. Take a deeper fold here. We're just into that back bend. This might feel nice. Let the head go. Just take an extra breath here. Urdhva sweep the arms high. Samastiti, prayer to your heart. Chair pose, Utkatasana. Now we'll shift the weight into the left foot, lift the right heel, interlace your fingers. So we're getting around, come to that cat back. You can lift the foot to the chest, thigh meet. Good and round here. Left knee stays soft. And then kick your heel forward, straightening the right leg so we don't lose the connection of the chest to the thigh. Left knee is bent or strong here. Focus on your breath. And then we'll rise. Straighten the left leg. The right's going to come up, so we keep the balance. Let go with your left hand. Floating tree pose, right hand to right knee. Open it up on the right side. Dancer, Natarajasana, we catch hold of the ankle, half prayer at the heart. So make your eyeballs up. So I'm not even tempted to lean forward. In fact, you can take the thumb against the sternum. Just kind of slide it up to the chest space. We'll release the foot, high lunge. Take your time. Warrior two. Peace. Extended side angle. Then reach your right hand up towards the ceiling, wrap it around your back. You're coming to half Gomukhasana. Back of the hand reaches for the center of the shoulder blades. And give yourself a moment there. One side might be a little tighter than the other. And then lay back into the hand. Or your shoulder back. Make sure your neck feels okay here. So we're not straining. You can drop the chin if you're comfortable, look up towards the ceiling, whatever feels better. Then we'll come to triangle pose, Trikonasana. Take your hand to the shins. We have a little bit more space. We can lift up and lay back. So the twist feels natural and not forced. Both legs are strong, draw the kneecaps up. Find the counter, hips are pulling back, so you can float the left fingertips forward. Rise up to reverse your triangle. Gomukhasana Bandha. Once you connect the hands, flex the left toes up. Lay back. Release your left hand, Ardha Chandrasana, half moon. Legs are wide, float them in if you need to. And then wherever that hand is, maybe you keep it off the floor. Maybe the fingertips are down on the floor, maybe you're on blocks. Yeah, find your balance, stay right there, stay with it. And then bend your right knee, we'll come to Trikonasana. There's that right hand, catch hold of the foot. So the foot is traveling back, the chest is traveling forward. Throw your right shoulder back. And then kick your foot into your hand. Open the hamstring. Nice. The big transition here. We're going to close it up a bit. You can soften the left knee, take some of the weight there. We'll come to stack the right knee behind the left for a perch. Once the knee connects, let go of the foot, bring your right hand down. We'll twist to the opposite side, which is the left. So we find space before we go for any bind. Now reconnect to the foot with your left hand. Baby grasshopper. Walk your right hand out a little farther out to the right for the counterbalance once we straighten the right leg. Now, if your left shoulder is stuck in your knee, roll in front of it. So you're lifting the foot with your left hand. Bend your right arm, you can lower your head. We'll push that back up. Super soldier variation, bring your foot towards your butt, lift your right knee up towards the ceiling. Deep bend over the left leg. You can float this back to a twisted lunge. Take your time. Right hand stays where it is. Breath in, lift the left arm, lay this back. Right underneath the left leg. You're coming behind the calf. Tee the arms, fingertips are on the floor. And just gaze back at your right foot. Make sure the heel is lifted. Nice. Half Gomukhasana with the left hand. So you're reaching back behind you. When you're ready for the balance, take your right hand back, catch hold of your left wrist. Lower your right shoulder. So nice firm grip, that leg. And then lower the right knee. Keep the back toes tucked so the heel's a little higher. It's a little easier to manage and maneuver here. So we come into that half split or the Vinyasa. You can flex the left toes up, you can fold. We'll unravel, shift forward. Stargazer, spin your right foot, lift your left heel. Lunge into it. Now reach your right hand back. Lengthen, lengthen, lengthen. Extended side angle. Let's release the twist. Bring your right hand down, spin your right foot. Vashisthasana, side plank. If you want to take it a little higher, if you want to grab the foot and come into a split, wherever you want to take this. Go easy for a Sunday morning, you will. And then reach the left arm over the ear, push out of the right hand. Feel that lengthening through the left side, almost like a separation of the ribs. Step your left foot down, rock star. And take your time. Left hand comes down to the mat. Bring your knee towards your wrist. Half hero. Pigeon. Yeah. So maybe that right leg needs to travel out to the side a little bit more. So go as wide as you need to. So you're comfortable. Press up onto the fingertips. Lift the chest. Now we can curl the right hamstring. Reach for the foot. Nice and easy. We'll release the foot. Tuck the toes. Lift into the left shin and then bring your right knee to the outside of your right hand. So we're in full hero. And then we'll walk the knees. Bring them together to touch. Bring your feet a little closer to you. And we'll take this one down. We'll go low this time. So lean back into the forearms. Wow, my hip just popped big time. So lift the pelvis and then tip it. Find a little tilt. You'll feel the quads a little bit more, but we'll release a little bit of the arch of the back. So the sacrum might come down to the floor. Bring your knees together. If they separated, it happens all the time. Just to feel the quads. And then we can hold on to the heels, maybe lower everything down to the mat. And then release the shoulders. Feel the shoulder blades. Just move down the mat a bit. Take a full breath in. And let that go. Take the arms above the head. And come to a cactus shape or grab hold of your elbows. Just let the arms just hang out there. Both forearms are down on the floor. We'll bring the hands forward, catch hold of the ankles. Get your elbows closer to your body so you can pull on the legs and then press up through the elbows. Once you're there, bring the forearms down. Yeah. We'll take the knees wide if they're not wide already. Hold on to your feet. We'll lift this up. Bring your hands to your heels. We'll push up and come back to Ustrasana. Camel pose. And then spin your fingers so they're facing the arches of the feet. Let the pelvis tip forward. Maybe crawl your fingertips right to the center of the foot, or maybe at the beginning of the heel. And take your time, we'll come back through center. Keep your hips off of the floor. Come to a tabletop with your hands forward. Lift your knees, bring them a little closer, so we'll go as wide as the hips and bring your feet. Tuck your toes under. It'll feel nice. Nice release from the ankles. Take breath in, lift the chest or in a cow back. Breath out, we'll come to cat. And step your left knee back. Step your right knee back. So we'll come to a puppy pose, and instead of moving the hands forward, we're moving the knees back. We'll release the chest all the way down to the mat. And then press into the hands. We'll lift the chest, lower the forearms down, and we'll come into Sphinx pose. Breath in, chest comes forward. So if you're dragging the mat back with the forearms, press down into the fingertips and tops of the toes. Project out through the feet. Now take your hands and stack them. We'll lift the elbows, go wide, and we'll lower everything down. So your chin can rest in your hands. Might feel more comfortable to bring the third eye down, so to attach it in the neck. And take your hands back behind you in an interlace. Forehead rests on the mat, your third eye is down. So we're keeping the chest and the head down here. Interlace your fingers, lift the hands up off of your butt. Draw the knuckles back towards the heels and feel the shoulders move away from the Now we'll release the hands, bring your right arm up over your head, bring your left hand towards your left shoulder. We'll come into a half frog, bringing your knee up towards your wrist. This is a beautiful stretch. You need your left arm over to the left side, just roll onto your back. So the left knee will probably float up off the floor, let that happen. So there's zero effort here. Now reach down with your right hand, catch hold of your left foot. So we have that same movement where we interlace the fingers like you're stepping into your hand. Bring your thigh up towards your chest, so you're in that twist. Take your time here, it's pretty deep. So you're using your right arm to lift the foot, the knee is bent. Then we can straighten the left leg, bring your hand to your shin. You kind of perch yourself up on your right elbow, your right tricep. And just rest the leg. And then you'll guide the leg up towards your right shoulder. And then you bend your left leg. We'll come back, left foot meets right, left hand meets right. You come to full pranayama, turn your palms to face up, drop your forehead down. Take a full breath in. On the breath out, Bhramari breath. Vivas. Lift your head, turn your left palm down, bring your right hand to your right shoulder. Half hero, half frog. Yeah, there we go. And then we'll lay this back, reach back with the right arm. We'll connect to the right foot with the left hand, bend your knee, bring your thigh up towards your chest. Just hold it here, we have that twist. You can bring your right hand back behind your head. And start to straighten your right leg. Bring your hand to your calf, hike up onto the tricep. And then once you're there, balance isn't an issue anymore. Bring the leg a little closer towards the left shoulder. A little mini split here. And soften the right knee. We'll unravel. Full pranam, turn the palms up. Drop the third eye down. And then curl your bicep, reach your fingertips back behind you. You might touch the shoulders, you might walk the elbows a little farther forward. Breathe. Interlace your fingers and then release, bring your hands forward. Take the gaze up. Bring the forearms back, we're still interlaced. Lift your chest. There's just a cobra variation with different arms pressing into the knuckles, all the way to the elbow. Tuck your toes, lower your chest down towards the arms, and we'll lift this up to a forearm plank. We won't stay long, bring the knees forward. Child's pose, bring your hands forward, unclasp your fingers, walk them forward. Drop your head. And just reach the hands down towards the feet, interlace the fingers, draw the knuckles towards the back edge of the mat. Shoulders move. Your head might even come up off the floor. Let that happen. And we'll start to roll it up, chin to chest. Keep your chest low over the thighs. Take your time, slow motion here. Good. Now you still have that interlace of the hands. Lift your hips. Well, actually release. Take your fists in the arches of your feet. I don't know if I showed you this one last time. And we'll just start to shift the weight from side to side. Take your knuckles up towards your heels and then slide them down into the arches as you shift the weight. Yeah, you'll feel that. Mm-hmm. And then maybe you can come towards the balls of the feet. Looks like you're kneading dough or clay. And we can hold it here. Let's swing the legs out in front. We'll have a seat. Flex the feet, inhale the arms up overhead, take breath. Paschimottanasana, we're not going to stay. Tuck your chin into your chest and roll it up. Catch hold of one of your blocks. And then we'll bring the block to the balls of the feet. And as you draw the block back, you have a deeper flex. Flex the quads, kneecaps draw up so the heels leave the floor. Lift the ribs. Take breath in, chest is coming up. And then we'll refold, coming forward. Just imagine your forehead coming to touch the block. And then once you're as far as you can go, release the heels back down to the floor. Maybe your elbows will come down as well. And just let your head hang. So there's still tension here. We're still pulling on the block, flexing the feet. And you're right at the ball of the foot, not at the toes. You're not bending your toes back. Heels come forward. And just roll the block down to the mat. So now the block is against the heels. Walk your fingertips. We're still pulling the block into the feet. Now point your toes. So now as you point your toes, the arches will catch the edge of the block and the heels will come up again. But you have a little bit of pressure into the arches. You can even take your thumbs and try to help those toes come down to the block. Take your whole hand on top of the toes, as long as you still have the block with your fingertips. And it's a lot more comfortable with a foam block. If you have a harder block, cork block, it'll be a little more intense. Still beneficial. It'll get your attention. And then we'll release. Bring your hands down to the mat. We'll take the block in between the feet and then scoop the hips forward. Come to boat pose, holding the block between the feet. Yes, float the arms up. Take the block in your hands, the legs don't change. Just bring your feet together, still in boat pose. Block is above the head. Yes. And we'll come to Baddha Konasana. Soles of the feet come together. You still have the block. Bring it forward right in front of your toes. And then we can shift. Breath in to lengthen, breath out. We're coming forward to fold. Maybe we can bring the chin down to the block. Maybe the forehead. So something supporting the neck, supporting the head. And bring your hands to your thighs, not your knees. You can guide the knees a little closer to the floor, we're not pushing, hands are just resting there. And then just float the head up off the block, bring the left shoulder forward, pull your right shoulder back, and then turn your gaze over your right shoulder. And then release everything, head comes down to the block. Take the pressure off the legs, we can even bring the forearms down. Just take a breath here. Let it go. And take the hands back to the thighs. Float the head up off the block. Bring your right shoulder forward, left shoulder back. Take your gaze up the back. So you still have that forward fold here. Release everything. Forehead comes back down to the block. Forearms come down to the floor. Tuck your chin into your chest and we'll walk this back. Take the block behind you, bring your knees together. You're going to lean back onto the block. It'll come right in between the shoulder blades, so turn it on the second height. Feet will stay where they are. So figure it out, the block should come like right to where your bra strap is. That's the back edge of the block. So it sits in between the blades, you're on your forearms until you get there. Now take the arms wide, forearms will stay on the floor. Keep your knees bent, but take your feet a little wider, and then drop your head back. So your head should float, it shouldn't be on the floor. So if you feel it's on the floor, just adjust how you need to with the block. Maybe you lift the pelvis, give a little tilt here if you feel an arch in the back. There'll be a slight arch, but no uncomfortable pressure. Just let your head go. And you can walk the hands forward towards the feet. Maybe walk the feet back a little bit until the fingertips touch the heels. And then maybe reach the hands to the ankles. Now with the head released and hanging, we can draw the shoulders down away from the ears. Then we have the full support of the block. Now we'll reverse the steps, nice and easy. Release the ankles, fingertips to the heels. Forearms come down to the mat. Slide the elbows back. Hold on to your butt, your hamstrings, your hips. We'll lift the head, but press into the arms. Slide the elbows back a little bit more. We'll just pause here because we were just hanging upside down. Drive your chin to your chest. And then lift the chest just enough so you could slide the block up a little bit. So you're reaching your fingers underneath. Bring the hips down a little bit. Let the pelvis, low back comes down. So now we're coming back onto the block. You might want to turn it long ways or keep it where it is. It's coming right to the base of the skull. So you'll just feel a little bit of pressure and then a good bite. We've used our fingertips before. So if you have a bun, which I do, which is not the greatest idea, take your hands to the top of the block. So you can hold it for stability so it doesn't fall. And then you can lay back into the block, just so that the soft edges are right at the base of the skull. You can bend the other leg, press into the feet, tip the pelvis, low back comes down. And then there's really no tension in the arms. You can let them float down to the mat, but hold on to the block with your fingertips. Now, ever so slowly start to turn your head to the right side. You're not going to roll off the block, you're just shifting where the pressure is. And then bring your head back to center. And slowly shift over to the left. And we'll do that one more time. Come back through the middle. Shift over to the right. Come back to the middle and shift over to the left. And then we'll come to center. Press into the triceps, catch hold of the hamstrings, lift your head. So you're pulling on the legs. Head is off the block. Reach for your hands, take the block out. You take the block in between the knees. Bring the arms up to a cactus shape. You can bring your hands behind your head, especially if your hair is in the way. And then we'll bring both feet together. Drop both knees over to the right side. You have the block in between the knees. Then shift the pelvis forward, turn your gaze in the opposite direction. So you're turning to your left. Then we'll bring everything back to the middle. Take your time. You might feel that hip rolling on it like that. And then we'll lower the knees over to the left side of the block. Squeeze the block with the legs. Once the knees come down, shift the pelvis forward. That'll be towards your left. Turn your head to the right. And we'll bring everything back to center. Remove the block from between the knees. Kick your legs up towards the ceiling. And leave enough space in between your feet so you can roll your ankles. Point and flex the toes. Let's catch hold of the feet and come into happy medium. And just be aware that the sacrum isn't pulled up off the floor because they want to get your thighs down. Maybe close your eyes and focus on that one place that stays glued to the floor, fully supported. Drop your shoulders. And then if you want to play with straightening the legs, maybe one at a time. Maybe both. But then once the toes come down, don't let the butt pop up. So we can even check that out. Lift the head, lift the shoulders. And then lower yourself down nice and easy. We'll release the feet, but hold on to the calves. And then guide the legs into a Gomukhasana shape. It's bound to happen to the legs sooner or later, right? The right knee stacks over the left. Catch hold of the ankles and draw the heels in towards the hips. Once that happens, bring your thighs in towards the chest. Breathe. We can lift the head, bring the nose to the knee. Super slow motion. And then we release. Unravel the legs, we'll come back into happy baby. We'll extend one at a time. And then both. Lift your head, lift your shoulders. Release yourself down. Soften the knees, catch hold of the calves, feel Mukhasana on the other side. Lift and release. Take the legs up towards the ceiling, the ankles will be crossed. Connect the feet, flex the toes back. And then point the toes, uncross the ankles, cross them the other way, so connect the feet. So they're both flexed. And then lengthen, they're both pointed. Release. Extend the arms high above your head. Separate the feet, and we're aiming towards the bottom corners of the mat. So project out through the toes, reach in the opposite direction with the fingertips. And we'll float right into Shavasana. Once you're there, take a full breath in. Open your mouth and let it go. Breathe deeply. Bring small movements back into your hands and feet. Roll your head gently from side to side. And reach the arms above your head. Extend the legs out, coming to the full body stretch. Point the toes at the back arch. The ribs will lift, reach the fingertips. Take your biggest breath of the morning, fill all the way. And then in a lion's breath, stick out your tongue and let it all go. As you bend your knees, bring your feet to the floor and roll onto your right hand side. Lift yourself up. Bring a prayer to your heart, bow your head. Feeling gratitude, proud, honoring your practice, your breath, your ability to move, to concentrate, to tune out all of the outside intrusions, whether it's noise or people or commotion or negativity, whatever it is. We need to train ourselves to do that. We need to practice. And we can start off by literally shutting off the senses, using our hands to cover things, or just closing our eyes. But eventually we have to keep those eyes open, but not let negativity through, the chaos, the frustration, or the chatter, the buzz, the noise, and keep our focus within, to our peace and our steadiness and our balance and our joy. Take a full breath in. Open your mouth, let it go. Let's breathe in for one. Namaste.